He regaled us with exhaustive theatrical gossip.
And considerable talk of his favorite subject.
Yes, Oscar Wilde. Geniuses are always talking about themselves. Was my name mentioned?
It was not.
Strangest by far was the story of the Marquess of Queensberry and some rotten fruit.
The Marquess. Quickly, what did he say?
That Wyatt had sworn out a complaint against the Marquess for criminal libel.
Oh, the fool! This shall be his undoing.
Shaw?
His eternal curse!
Shaw! Where are you bound? What in the world is going on?
Watson, our adventures have been far-ranging and various, covering a vast spectrum of man's misdeeds. We've investigated supernatural happenings on the moors. We have traipsed through Limehouse opium dens in pursuit of nefarious riffraff. We've engaged in the seedy underworld of London's worst criminals, but nothing in our adventures has prepared us for the bizarre world into which we have descended. Show business. Let us go inside the Savoy Theatre and endeavor to find out.
Good afternoon. We are...
Oh, no need to say your names. You're Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, aren't you?
Quite so.
Yes. Well, you probably don't remember me. I'm Herbert, although we have met before, last November. I told you I was your biggest fan, and that I'm something of a writer myself, and that you were much taller in person.
The moment is indelibly etched.
Well, now, what brings you to this? Oh! Is the game afoot?
Shh. We are here, Herbert, to see Gilbert and Sullivan.
Sir Arthur is not here. And Mr. G is leading the rehearsal, so you'll have to speak to, the manager, Mr. Doyley Cart. Yes. Mr. Cart!
Before your grin grows any wider, Watson, you would do well to know how short a trip it is from fan to fanatic.
Herbert, you know the press is not permitted here before opening night. There's a rehearsal in progress and I must ask you to leave.
They're not the press. Well, he is a writer, but not for any mere newspaper, you see. Yes, well, look at my hat. It's elementary, isn't it?
Sherlock Holmes. And you must be Watson. But this is capital. I have in my office the latest edition of the Strand magazine. Is the game afoot?
It has led us to the Savoy.
The Savoy is honored, aren't we? Honored? Is honored.
Herbert, would you be so kind as to excuse us? I believe these gentlemen have a few questions for me that are, I believe the phrase is, for my ears alone.
See, Mr. H and Dr. W, I do have a story idea that you might find engaging about a time-traveling detective. I'll shut by, shan't I?
He's a temp. Now then, Mr. Gilbert has been at the actors all day, and spirits may be trifle under just now, but you are welcome nonetheless.
I believe there is a young lady attached to the company named Jessie Rutland.
What do you want to know? Is she in any difficulty?
Well, the difficulty isn't none of hers, but she must respond to some questions.
Must?
Either to me or the police, or quite possibly to both.
I could ask her nothing more. A scandal. There's never been a breath of scandal at the Savoy. Sir Arthur handpicks the singers himself, and their conduct is beyond reproach. Mr. Gilbert sees to that.
Would you consider the use of drugs by George Goldsmith to be conduct beyond reproach.
Wherever did you hear such a thing?
No matter where, the story will go no further than it has. Now, may we speak with Miss Rutland?
Let's see if we can find her on the stage.
Once more, Mr. Grossmith. Celia.
A patent to professors of monarchical autonomy. I don't indulge in levity or compromising bonhomie. Dignified formality consistent with economy. Above all the rest.
No, Mr. Grossmith. It's still too fast. Too fast.
But this is the tempo we set in rehearsals.
Celia.
I must insist, Mr. Gilbert. This is the proper tempo.
If the words cannot be distinguished, then the tempo is incorrect.
I am a man, not a metronome.
Sadly, I can only admonish the former and regret the latter.
I'll not be talked to in this manner, Sir Arthur.
Sir Arthur is not here at the moment, as you have quite possibly divined. Sir Arthur is either at cards with some of his titled friends, or else at the Lyceum wasting his talents on some incidental music for Irving's revival of Macbeth. I suppose it would be too much to ask Sir Arthur for the overture to our piece, or even to coach the singers once or twice before opening night.
Gilbert, my dear, let's halt for supper. Ladies and gentlemen, let us forbear and renew our energies over supper. We open within 36 hours, and we must all sustain our strength. Played out.
Which is Miss Rutland.
Strange. I don't see her. She must be...
Miss Rutland! Come on, Watson. The dressing rooms are downstairs.
Women's stage left, men's stage right.
Keep them out, Watson.
What is happening here?
Sherlock Holmes is endeavoring to find out, Mr. Gilbert.
Good Lord, you must be Dr. Watson. Is the game afoot?
Yes. The woman who screamed, I take it, was Miss Rutland.
Miss Rutland was not at my rehearsal. Something about a sore throat.
Did you know Miss Rutland well, sir?
Know her? Not really. She's in the chorus. I do not engage the chorus. Here, everybody. Go on, have your supper. We shall continue afterward with Act 1 from the sausage roll number. Go on and eat, my dears. There's nothing of consequence that need detain you here. You must keep your strength.
Dr. Watson, this is Dr. Eccles, the doctor who is on call at the Savoy.
I make the round of several theatres in the district when on call, and I had just stepped into the stalls to see how rehearsal was going. Mr. Cott saw me and summoned me downstairs. He seemed to think I might be needed.
Holmes, this is Dr. Eccles, the house physician.
Miss Rutland. Is dead. Watson, you and Dr. Eccles must make a thorough medical examination. Mr. Gilbert, Mr. Doyley Cart, I must ask you to remain beyond the threshold. Watson, allow me to prevail upon your quiet authority. While I chase down a rather unsavory lead, I need you to secure the premises and then meet me in 1 hour's time at Baker Street.
Are you leaving?
Yes. And Watson.
Her throat has been severed quite cleanly, and her blood is still...
Is there pronounced rigidity in her neck and abdomen?
Yes. Can Rega have sat in so quickly?
Death. Scandal. Ruin.
But why her? Who would do such a thing?
I don't see a weapon.
No, nothing is visible.
We should cancel the performance.
We can't. You know we can't.
It wouldn't be the first time the playhouses were closed.
I believe that's everything. Doctor, you are ashen. Must be more accustomed to sore throats than to cut ones. Come along. Gentlemen, there has been a murder done, and all must remain as it is until viewed by the authorities. Touch nothing until viewed by Scotland Yard.
You know what this is about. I insist you tell me, what questions were you going to put to the girl?
Those questions were for Miss Rutland without exception. You may refer the police to our lodgings at 221 Baker Street. You're still quite pallid, Doctor. Will you be all right?
I can still see her face.
I've seen many murders. It never gets easier.
Hey, what's all the bloody screaming then? One of them actress women? Spot one of me lovelies?
One of your what?
It's me rats, Governor. I be Rupert the Rat Catcher.
Filthy disease-ridden things.
Hang on, yeah. Say, I think I know who you are. You're that Dr. What's-his-name, aren't you? Well, let me tell you, you toffee-nosed git. Ain't a thing wrong with my sweet little rats, huh? I take umbrage at your casting aspersions. There, my pretties. Pay no attention to Dr. Humbug, huh? Well, there's the door, and quick your step and be off before I put my boot in your bum.
What impertinence, you odious little man.
Say, ain't you supposed to be meeting Mr. Sherlock Holmes back at Baker Street?
My dear Watson.
What? Holmes?
As ever.
Why must you do that?
I thought a little backstage subterfuge necessary to observe the actions of the Savoyards, and try though as I may, I can never resist the allure of grease paint and disguise.
Try harder.
No time to be peevish, Watson, for unless I miss my guess.
This case assumes a familiar shape.
What shape? Despite my quiet authority, I am at a loss.
A triangle. He's well behind the court. Watson? Watson, are you unwell?
No, a bit queasy. It must be all this talk of rats. A triangle, you say?
Yes. I shall be greatly astonished if it does not prove to be the old story of a jealous lover discarded by his mistress in favor of another, possibly a more powerful one.
It must be a very peculiar triangle if it includes so depraved an angle as McCarthy. Are you asking me to believe that sweet-faced young woman took up with a man of his stamp? My mind projects the whole idea.
I ask your minds to remain open a little longer, Watson, for she did take up with him. At least the evidence points in that direction.
What evidence?
Why not fan yourself with your Strand magazine? Perhaps it will prove useful after all. I confess to feeling slightly hazy myself. To answer your question, Oscar Wilde's evidence. If his information about Grothsmith's recourse to drugs elicited the response it did from Doyley Cart, we may, I think, grant its accuracy. And what, Watson, have you to offer in rebuttal for your Miss Rutland? Her sweet-faced appearance? Really, Watson, what romantic nonsense, when her very actions belie any supposed propriety. No, indications are that she lit both ends of the candle to enjoy a fiercer heat, and to her lasting surprise, got burned. That she was McCarthy's mistress, I will credit on the basis of the evidence so far. What her motives were for being, I will learn.
From whom?
That will depend on Arthur Sullivan. He hired her. It is to him I shall turn for a better portrait. What is it, man?
You've written in my Strand magazine? Really? Holmes, it is most irritating.
I have done no such thing, Watson. What are you on about?
Stop. Stop this moment. This isn't my magazine. I must have picked up the wrong one at McCarthy's.
Jack Point, Regent Street. Who is Jack Point?
Another Gilbert and Sullivan character. A jester who loses his love to a highborn lord in Yeoman of the Guard.
Ah! Jack Point is our man!
No doubts.
You see, Watson, we are dealing with that geometrical configuration I postulated some minutes ago.
Oh.
My dear fellow, you're not truly ill. Well, you do feel quite warm. Well, then so do I. It appears we've both caught some fate.
I'll be myself in a little.
You're quite sure?
Quite so. Oh!
Oh, help! Help! Oh. Help!
There has been a murder done.
McCarthy is Jesse Rutland's lover.
Mr. Rutland was not at my rehearsal.
Both ends of the candle to enjoy a piercing.
Miss Rutland.
How have you